Hello and welcome to today's video. My name's Haley and today we're going over the 9th gene key, gift of determination. The name of the ninth gene key is the power of the infinitesimal. Still don't know if I'm saying that right. Yeah, my room is really messy right now. Couldn't be bothered to make my bed before I make this video, which usually I do, but whatever. Like I said, this is a no frills channel. You just get the real raw cuts and downloads of myself and my insights from this book by Richard Rudd, The Gene Keys. So yeah, you can dive right into this video if this is speaking to you, this gift of determination, or feel free to backtrack and watch the entirety of the 9th gene key for this to have a little bit more foundation. The first two videos within the 9th gene key were about the shadow state of inertia. So today, graduating from inertia into determination. Where is my pen? There we go. It's funny, I like to talk holding a pen, I've realized. If I don't have a pen, I just feel like I can't continue. So the 9th gift of determination, he titles this chapter, Every Intentional Act is a Magical Act. We briefly went over this within the shadow state, talking about how when you inject every single action, whether grandiose and big, like going on a first date with someone or graduating college or having a baby, and then also the smaller acts of life, like doing your laundry, clicking a pen, opening a book, drinking water. When you direct every single action, no matter how big or small, with intention, it becomes magical. And this magic is what you need to escape this donut frequency of inertia, right? Taking these 1,000 steps around and around and around, not really moving anywhere, in order to move into the gift of 1,000 steps. There's my path that actually leads you somewhere. Intention is how you transmute inertia into determination. And then he includes a nice quote here from an English magician named Aleister Crowley. It's a nice name, Aleister Crowley. And this quote says, "Every intentional act is a magical act. Even the smallest act has a spin-off effect that travels out into the universe." This made me think of the butterfly effect, which is essentially this concept of even the flap of a butterfly wings affects the movement forward. And obviously the bigger the act, the more obviously you can see the butterfly effect out into the universe. But even something as small as me wearing deodorant today, or not, could ripple out into the universe and affect the entirety of not only my life, but the lives of others. I'm just gonna make up a scenario. Let's say I leave the house without putting deodorant on. Okay, it's kind of hot outside, I start sweating. Maybe I go into a cafe and I start talking to this girl and we're having a really deep conversation, but all of a sudden she smells my BO and she's like, "Oh, I really gotta go. Like, nice talking to you, bye." She leaves. Say it's this exact same day, but instead of not wearing deodorant right before they leave the house, I go, I should probably put this on because it's gonna be a hot one. Put it on, leave the house. I go to that same cafe, meet that same girl. We're in this deep conversation. Because the smell of the BO is not there, since I have worn the deodorant, we keep going down the rabbit hole. Hey, we should get coffee tomorrow. We get coffee tomorrow. Oh, we should go here. Years later, she's my bridesmaid at my wedding. This is a simple example of the butterfly effect. Even the small and seemingly not important act of wearing deodorant. Actually, I'm going to reframe that. Wearing deodorant is very important. Or not if it's not important to you. To me, it's very important. But my point is, even the smallest act of putting on natural deodorant or not can infect and affect the outcome of my wedding one day, right? Or whether I gain a best friend or lose a friendship or whatever. So this butterfly effect is very important. Even the smallest action has a spin-off that travels out into the universe. And keep in mind, not only does that affect my life, the potential of my wedding, the potential of my friend circle, it also affects the other individual's life, right? In this scenario, it could also affect the way she feels about female friendships or her view on Bali. Maybe she was about to move because she doesn't feel like she has a good circle, but then she meets me and now she feels connected. Like, I'm just making stuff up here. But my point is, every act you take not only affects you, but literally everyone else around you, whether subconsciously or consciously noted. Oh, wow. I forgot how many notes I made on this page. I'm gonna fit as much of this into 30 minutes as I can. Sometimes I don't go over all the notes I make because I feel it's important to drill home a few points with clarity rather than just bombard you all with the basically entire page. Everything Richard Rudd writes is honestly just pure gold. I love you, Richard Rudd. If you ever see this, just know you have had the butterfly effect on me, changed my life for the better. This book has really, changed the way I view the world. So thank you, Richard. Back to determination. I'm determined to get through this gift of determination. Okay, so he says, this is really important. He says that actions made out of resentment or fear reinforce the shadow of inertia. I'm going to give you guys a simple example. When I was a model, me going to the cafe and ordering off the menu, something with no carbs, low fat, all this bullshit, that is an action taking in fear, right? I'm afraid that I might not fit a certain size, therefore I not book a client, therefore I lose my job, therefore not look good enough, yada, 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 all the fear-based programming I could go on about. And that action of taking an order off the menu with that lens of perception behind me reinforces my shadow state of inertia, of being a sick anorexic model. So any and all actions taken in fear reinforce you into that donut, that inescapable 1,000-stepped donut. And this is really important because something as simple as ordering off the menu, if you don't have an awareness practice, you can very unconsciously be reacting in fear and not even consciously realize it, right? I can be ordering, the steak with no extra sauce and, I don't want fries because they have carbs and all this stuff, honestly, automatically, because I've been programmed to do it and not even realize consciously that I'm doing this out of fear-based programming. So that's just one example from my real old-time life. First contemplation of this video, what actions am I taking out of fear, resentment, out of guilt, out of shame, anger, annoyance? You can brainstorm your own low vibrational emotions. Insecurity, what actions am I taking out of insecurity? Choose your favorite word. I think fear is pretty all-encompassing. What actions am I taking out of fear? Even something as simple as ordering off the menu. Even something as simple as getting dressed for the day. Am I getting dressed because I want to wear this, or am I getting dressed because someone else told me that I need to dress nicer and now I'm like, So really, you could sit with this question for like ages because you're making decisions and taking actions for the most part 12 to 16 hours of your day. Whatever you're not spent sleeping, you're in the real live time action 3D world doing something for the most part. So sitting down and contemplating, why am I doing what I'm doing? Is it coming out of a low vibrational energy of fear? If it is, it's time to start to become aware of that. Awareness is the first step to changing anything so that I can change it and escape this donut hole of inertia. I gotta stop taking these 1,000 steps into a donut shape if I want to go anywhere. I have to be determined to escape the shadow of inertia. I have to be so driven to stop making decisions out of fear. And once again, in real live time, that example I gave you initially looked like me starting to order things off the menu that had carbs, not being scared of extra sauce and dressings and, some other silly things that my agents and the modeling industry I'd allowed to program me with that were not okay or not right or, gonna make me a bigger size and not be able to book clients. So whatever your fear is, you have to first see it and then choose of your own free will to transcend it, knowing that it's going to set you free from this donut hold inertia shadow state. Wow, there's so much to talk about in this chapter. It's actually wild. So on the flip side, when I act in joy or service, I create more of that. It's very simple. When I react in fear, I create more inertia, fear-based energy. When I act in joy, when I act in bliss, when I act in freedom of choice, when I act unlimited, I can order anything off the menu because I don't need to be afraid of anything. That state of unlimitedness, that state of freedom, that state of joy, that state of relaxation comes right back to me in the form of people, places, things, in my direct experience with the universe. Wow. Okay, so that's very simple to understand. What I put out is what I get back. Simple. And then the harder part is following through with that. Conjuring up the courage I need to overcome that very seemingly real fear that's presenting itself in front of me. And this is why he says you need to have a burning ideal inside of you. The word determination just means like, I plan to do that later. No, I'm determined to do that next time I see a menu. Means like nothing can stop me. No fear, no thought, no agent. Even if my agent were to rock up at the restaurant, I'm still gonna fucking order some fries. Like that's what that means. So determination, once again, is on a sliding scale. The more you have, you can think of it as the more energy, the more amplitude of energy you have behind your will to make a decision that's rooted in something high vibrational like joy, bliss, love, or service. So determination, once again, is something that builds momentum. The more you conjure up to make that right decision, the more joy comes back to you. Next time you make a decision, you have more joy in you to put toward forth. You make that decision, more joy comes back, you have a little bit more, you put it forth. It just keeps building and you start to spiral upward into this gift frequency of determination, which eventually liberates you from the inertia donut hole. which is really awesome. So just how inertia is a downward spiral, this gift frequency of determination is an upward spiral. And he re-emphasizes here that every single step you take, no matter how seemingly inconsequential these acts are, putting on deodorant, ordering fries or not, clicking a pen, wearing this necklace versus the other one, all of these actions, when done with the awareness of joy, lead you in the direction of that foundation. When I make a decision in joy, it leads me to more joy. When I make a decision in determination, it leads me to embody more determination, more will, more strength, more energy, more action. And this is something that's beautiful. This word determination, as you can probably tell the way I talk about it, it's an energy. There's power behind it. And when I say energy, I mean, yes, energy you can apply to going on a 5-mile run. Energy you can apply to really grinding at this creative art project you're trying to make. Creative energy you need to sit there and be the best version of yourself while you support someone in your life that's going through a hard time. Energy that can be utilized in ways that serve you and the all. And the more determined you become, the more you start to gain momentum within this gift frequency, the less energy you actually need to utilize from within your own willpower. Momentum means it naturally pushes you forward. It's not this like, okay, I gotta get up again and like really try so hard to do the right thing. The more you do the right thing, the more you want to do the right thing. I'm gonna say that one more time. The more you do the right thing, the more you take action in joy versus fear, that means the next time you do it, you'll have more energy, more motivation, more natural inspiration to act in joy. So it only gets easier, which is something that's really beautiful to know. And again, maybe incrementally, occasionally there's this holy instant of a quantum leap where you shed an old pattern all in one go. But for the most part, it's incremental, so maybe you don't even notice it, but you'll look back one day and be like, wow, me a year ago had a really hard time ordering fries off the menu. Now I do it like it's nobody's business. Now, if anything, I order 2 baskets of fries or whatever it is, you know? And I think this will be the second contemplation of video. Sitting here today, think about something you struggled with in the past and think about how you view it now. Maybe something from a year or 2 ago. For me, it was the example of the fries. Now I sit here and I'm like, damn, I eat fries all the time or whatever. I order what I want on the menu all the time. And I think really just sitting and contemplating how far you've come generates a sense of like, okay, so like I'm doing a good job. And sometimes we need to pat ourselves on the back because I have an inkling that I'm not the only one who is hard on themselves. So generating gratitude for the actions that you have taken in joy, the determination and motivation and momentum you've built up into this gift frequency already as you sit here today watching this is very important, because it's that gratitude, that open-hearted state that is joy. And it's that joy that you need to keep acting in this way to build more joy. So gratitude and reflecting on how far you've come, in my opinion, is also a very, very, very powerful and maybe overlooked practice. So yes, if you feel so inspired to reflect on your own journey, where were you a year ago? What were you struggling with? And how far have you come today? And give yourself a little pat on the back, a little hug, kiss your hand, whatever. Okay, so this thing I underlined in 2 colors, which I hardly ever do. It must be pretty important. Richard Rudd says that it is only at the beginning that you have to use a great force, because those first few steps out of the donut shadow frequency, he didn't say donut, I put that in there. These first few steps out of the shadow frequency take such an enormous strength of will. I can attest to that. I mentioned in the last video, or maybe one of the shadow state videos of this 9th gene key, how my big, enormous effort of will was going to that meditation retreat and sitting with my body for 5 to 8 hours a day for 7 days straight. And that's what helped to get me initially out of that cyclical donut shape and into starting to build momentum with determination. And determination is infinite. So once again, there's never gonna be a day where I'm like, oh, I've become as determined as I can become. No, determination, once you escape that donut hole shadow frequency, can keep building. And I think that's a beautiful thing. The more you tread the path of the heart, the easier it gets. Well, thank God. He says that the more you step into this frequency, the more relaxed you become. The more relaxed you become, the slower your brain waves go. And he says here that one of the great paradoxes of life is the lower your brain waves go, the higher your frequency raises. He also throws a little simple truth at us. He says, your true course in life is already predetermined. I know this is going to bring up a discussion in and of itself, the whole predetermination thing. I'm just going to quote the book. The book says, your true course in life is already predetermined, and thus all you have to do to find it is follow it. Once again, returning to what I offered you all in the last video. Your true course in life, your higher purpose, I gave you the option of being presence, which in accordance to this quote would be basically say, all you have to do is find presence in every moment. The simple act of even correcting When your strap falls, can I do this as presently as possible, really feel the cotton, whatever. The more I can interject presence into every single act. When I brush my hair, can I do it in presence? When I eat my croissant, can I do it in presence? When I take my earrings off, when I conversate with someone, I could go on. The more I interject this presence, the more I naturally become aware of the opportunities, the synchronicities, and the possibilities in my environment, meaning they're able to unlock and unfold for me. This is what I think he means by predetermination. The way I see that whole, like, are we predetermined? Let's just forget about that word. It's very simple. The more aware you become, the more you see, the more opportunities you see, the greater ability you have to approach them and allow them to approach you. If I don't see something, there's my possibility cut off right there. If I see it, and the more I see, the greater of abundance I have to choose from, of course, naturally my life is going to unfold in a predetermined or higher manifestation. So that's how I see that concept of predetermination. So once again, as these brainwaves drop, because you start to feel relaxed, and once again, you feel relaxed because you know you're determined to act in joy. And I know if I act in joy, I gain more joy. The more joy I gain, the bigger the momentum, the more joy I put out, the more joy, 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 joy. So I'm determined and I'm dedicated to being joyful. And because I know how dedicated I am, that provides relaxation. The more relaxed I am, the lower my brainwaves drop, the higher my consciousness goes. The more I naturally, easily, and effortlessly begin to let go of my mental constructs, my fears, my opinions, my judgments, my beliefs that don't serve me. This sounds a little too good to be true, right? Wait, Haley, Richard Rudd. So you're literally just saying, back it up. All I basically have to do is be so determined to do every act, small and big, with presence, joy, love, awareness, whatever, choose your favorite high vibrational word. I have to be dedicated to feeling good and showcase that through my action. And then that's going to create the butterfly effect of me naturally, easily, and effortlessly escaping fear, escaping inertia, starting to evolve. Once again, starting to unlock the abundance that's always been around me. Yes, this is the truth. Oop, I just hiccuped. That's how relieved I am. Just hiccuped. I don't know if that's a sign of relief. But anyway, yes, it's true. Once again, easier said than done. But it is this simple. It is this simply put. And I think, once again, this is such a simple topic, but it's also broad, right? It applies to every single act within your life. So one fun activity could be, let's just choose 1 to 3 things that are seemingly mundane. Okay, brushing my teeth, drinking a glass of water first thing when I wake up, and making my bed. Let's just choose these 3 things. And you who's watching this can adopt these 3 or make your own simple mundane tasks that you do every day. Choose 3. Can I, for the next week, do these 3 things that I've just chosen with a heightened state of awareness? A determination to do this in the utmost joy and awareness. Can I brush my teeth with joy and awareness? Can I drink a glass of water first thing when I wake up with joy and awareness? Every single sip, like how much can I actually taste the water? Can I make my bed as I'm making my bed, really feeling the cotton, smoothing it out, feeling grateful for my bed? Like, this sounds silly, but can I just choose 3 things and for the next week, inject them with joy and awareness? Can I start to showcase my determination, my dedication, my vow to love, to presence, to joy, so that I can start to escape this donut frequency of inertia and step into the gift of determination and therefore start to evolve and unlock my abundance? I think sometimes these concepts are so simple yet broad that we're like, wow, like, you know, we watch a video, we read a book, we listen to a podcast, we're like, that was great. And then we just forget about it and keep doing things the same. So all of these videos and all other resources are only to your benefit if you actually listen, digest, and act differently after you ingest the information. So this will be your other, it's not a contemplation, this is more of a real live time action. Choose 3 mundane tasks, and for the next week, conjure up the determination, the presence, the love, and do those things and just see what changes. Could be a fun little activity. I think I'm going to use the 3 I brainstormed: brushing my teeth, consciously drinking water in the morning, and making my bed. Those seem pretty solid, pretty mundane. I'm going to see how exciting, how lovely, how conscious filled I can make those 3 things. And I will report back. You become aware of the vast power that can move through the very smallest of things, he says. Let's find out how much vast power can move through me as I brush my teeth, drink water, and make my bed. The last thing he says here is, at the same time, you get to see how enormous your contribution is to the whole when you truly take the plunge and listen to your heart. That's just a nice little universal sprinkle of glitter. Take the plunge, listen to your heart. I'm not going to bother to chip away and explain that because I feel that's something to be meditated upon. That phrase, listen to your heart. So yes, that was the gift of determination. Stay tuned for the next episode. And yeah, I'm excited to see what goes down with these 3 mundane tasks, doing them very, very consciously. And I will offer you this as well. About 1.5 years ago, I decided to start brushing my teeth with my left hand, although I'm right-handed, because similar to kind of this game I just offered you all, I was thinking, oh, I want to start doing it more consciously. And it's a lot easier to do something consciously if you've never done it before. I don't ever brush my teeth with my left hand, right? So I have to naturally become more aware because I'm less, I have less agility with my left hand because I'm right-handed. So that helped me stay conscious because every time I picked up my toothbrush with my right hand, I'd be ah. And then it just naturally takes more effort, more new memorization of muscles to brush my teeth with my left hand. It takes longer to get them clean. It naturally drove me to presence. So that's another fun thing you could interject. Even making your bed, maybe you always make it the same way. Maybe try making it a different way. First doing the pillows, then the blanket, I don't know. But my point is, when you inject new and novel techniques for doing things, it's a lot easier to be drawn into that state of presence that you need to ultimately motivate you into the gift frequency of determination. I will see you guys next time. Love and aloha. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in with me for this Gene Keys episode. I also just wanted to come on here and start promoting my one-to-one coaching that I offer to women and girls ages 16 to 35. If you've followed me on Instagram for a while, you might be a little bit familiar with my story. I was a model in New York City for 5 years, and in that time frame, I did quite some damage. I developed a really severe eating disorder, body dysmorphia, chronic anxiety. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even go out to dinner without thinking about how much calories, how much I'd have to overwork out in order to compensate for what I was eating. All of those issues led to quite a depression and turned into PCOS, and I also lost my menstrual cycle for over 5 years. All of this amalgamation of issues led me to soon realize that something needed to change. I went through much work. Many people helped me to get to where I am now. And I'm so thrilled to say I'm living such a more abundant life, and I don't feel zapped and drained and fear of judgment anymore like I used to. I would love to offer what I've learned through my own embodied experience, the meditative techniques that have gravitated toward me, and the own verified games that I've made up and curated to help you walk home to more of you and who you really are, so that all of these things can stop draining your energy. you know, all the constant comparison to others and to your people on Instagram, all the over-analysis about working out and what you're eating or what you look like. All of these things are not what life's about, as cheesy as it sounds. And I would love to help you come into more unity with you if you struggle with any of these things and you're a woman or girl between the ages of 16 and 35. So feel free to reach out to me if one-on-one coaching sounds resonant. You can feel free to DM me through Instagram or contact me via email, both of which will be left below in the description box. So much love and aloha to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.